The morning sun peeked over the tallest oak tree in the sprawling garden, casting a warm, golden glow over the green lawns and vibrant flower beds. This wasn't just any garden. It was a magical place nestled in a quiet corner of the USA, a place where flowers seemed to sing and butterflies danced on every breeze. And it was the favorite spot of three very special friends, Kitty, Kuromi, and Melody. Kitty, with her neat bow and thoughtful smile, was already awake, carefully watering a pot of sparkling pansies on the porch. Melody, gentle and soft-spoken, was admiring the dewdrops clinging to a spiderweb, looking like tiny diamonds. Kuromi, always a bundle of energetic mischief, zipped around, chasing a friendly ladybug with a giggle. "Good morning, garden," Kitty called out, her voice bright. "It's a perfect day for our Sparkle Festival."
Melody nodded, her eyes twinkling. "Yes, we'll make a daisy chain and maybe gather some berries for a little snack."
Kuromi skidded to a halt, a mischievous grin on her face. "And I'll build the tallest stick tower ever." They had planned this Sparkle Festival for weeks, a celebration of their beautiful garden. But as they gathered their supplies, a pretty blanket, some tiny teacups, and a basket for berries, Kitty paused. She looked around, her brow furrowing slightly. Does the garden feel a little less sparkly today?" she wondered aloud. Melody tilted her head, observing, "Now that you mention it, some of the roses look a bit droopy," she said softly, pointing to a bush where several pink petals hung limply. Kuromi, who had been about to climb a tree, looked down. "And hey, my favorite sunflower over there looks thirsty." She pointed to a giant sunflower whose head was bowed, its bright yellow petals looking pale. They walked further into the garden, their happy chatter replaced by quiet concern. A patch of grass near the old stone wall was dry and cracked, turning brown. The small, bubbling bird bath that usually sparkled with busy birds was completely still and almost empty. A tiny bee, usually buzzing with life, struggled on a wilting lavender bloom. "Oh dear," Kitty murmured. "Our garden is sad. How can we have a sparkle festival if the garden isn't sparkling?" Melody knelt beside the drooping roses, gently touching a wilting leaf. "It feels like it needs help." Kuromi stomped her foot. "Well, let's just splash water everywhere. That'll make it better." She ran towards the garden hose, eager to fix things quickly. "Wait, Kuromi!" Kitty called. "We shouldn't just splash water. We need to be like garden detectives. First, we need to find out why our garden is sad. Then we can figure out the best way to help it." Kuromi stopped, a pout forming on her face. "Detectives? That sounds like a lot of thinking when we could be doing." "But doing without thinking might make things worse," Melody added gently. "Let's observe. What do you see, Kitty?" Kitty put a paw to her chin, her eyes scanning the garden carefully. "Okay, observation number 1. Many plants look thirsty. That means they need water. But why aren't they getting enough?" They decided to start their investigation. Kitty, being organized, suggested they split up and look for clues. "Melody, you have a gentle touch, and you know a lot about flowers," Kitty said. "Can you check the flower beds and see if any specific plants look sicker than others, or if there are any tiny creatures bothering them?" Melody nodded, her eyes already scanning the blossoms. "I will look for clues, Kitty." "Kuromi," Kitty continued, turning to her energetic friend, "you're good at finding things and you're quick. Can you follow the main garden hose from the house and see if there are any twists or leaks?
Kuromi puffed out her cheeks. A hose? That sounds boring.
But it's super important, Kitty insisted. If the hose has a problem, no water can reach the plants properly. You'd be helping all the thirsty flowers. Kuromi taught about the thirsty sunflower. Okay, fine, for the sunflower, she declared, and zipped off, following the long green hose snaking through the garden. Kitty herself went to check the bird bath and the dry patch of grass. She scooped up a handful of the dry earth. It felt like powder. This spot definitely needs a drink, she murmured. She noticed a few small, green plants with spiky leaves growing near the dry patch. And these don't look like our usual garden plants, she thought. Soon they all return, full of discoveries. Kitty, Kitty, Kuromi called, running back with her paws on her hips. The hose. It has a tiny little hole near the rose bush, and it's spraying water away from the garden, not into it. Excellent detective work, Kuromi, Kitty praised her. That's a big clue. Melody arrived, her expression a little sad. I found a whole patch of weeds growing around the base of the rosebush, Kitty. They're stealing all the good nutrients and water from the roses. And some of the pansies look like they have tiny, tiny bugs on their leaves. Kitty nodded. And I found that the bird bath pump is clogged with some leaves, which is why it's not bubbling. And these spiky plants near the dry grass are actually weeds too. They take up a lot of space and make the ground even drier for the other plants. They had found many clues, and now they understood why their garden wasn't sparkling. It wasn't just one thing, it was a combination. So how do we fix it? Kuromi asked, her energy now focused on solving the problem. We need to work together, Kitty declared, feeling a surge of determination. Melody, you are so gentle and careful. Can you help me pull out the weeds around the roses and other flowers? And maybe gently wipe off those tiny bugs with a damp cloth. Melody's eyes lit up. Yes, I can do that. I'll be very careful not to hurt the flowers. Kuromi, Kitty said, turning to her, you are strong and clever. Can you help me fix the hose? We can wrap it tightly with some strong garden tape or even a sturdy leaf and some mud to stop the leak. And then, can you clear the leaves from the bird bath pump? Kuromi puffed out her chest. A hose fixer and a pump clearer. I'm on it, she exclaimed, already racing towards the hose with new purpose. The friends set to work. Melody carefully pulled out the prickly weeds, humming a soft tune as she worked, making the task feel lighter. She gently tended to the pansies, her tiny cloth wiping away the tiny bugs, bringing back their sparkle. Kitty helped her, explaining which plants were weeds and which were precious flowers. Kuromi, with her energetic spirit, tackled the hose. She found a piece of sturdy, waterproof garden tape in a nearby shed and, with a bit of grunting and determined pushing, managed to wrap it tightly around the tiny hole. Water immediately stopped gushing out and started flowing properly through the hose. Next, she bravely reached into the bird bath, pulling out handfuls of slimy leaves that had clogged the little pump. Soon, with a happy gurgle, the bird bath began to bubble again. They worked for what felt like a long time. Their paws got a little dirty, and they wiped sweat from their brows, but they kept going, encouraging each other. Look, Melody, we've cleared so many weeds, Kitty exclaimed, admiring a now free rose bush. The bird bath is sparkling again, Kuromi shouted, splashing a little water playfully. When all the tasks were done, they stood back, looking at their garden. It wasn't perfectly sparkling yet, But they could already see the difference. The hose was no longer leaking, ensuring water would flow to all the thirsty plants. The weeds were gone, giving the good plants space to grow. The bird bath was clear, ready for feathered friends. "It feels better, doesn't it?" Melody said, her voice full of quiet satisfaction. "Yeah," Kuromi agreed, wiping a smudge of dirt from her cheek. "It was hard work, but it was fun too." Kitty smiled, a warm glow spreading through her. "It was hard work, but we did it together. And now we know how important it is to take care of our garden every day, not just when it looks sad." They realized that the garden didn't just need a quick fix, it needed constant love and attention. They made a plan to check the hose every week, to gently pull out weeds, and to keep the bird bath clean. The next morning, the sun rose again, and this time, the garden truly did sparkle. The roses had perked up, their petals unfurling. The sunflower lifted its head, bright yellow and cheerful. Bees buzzed happily around the lavender, and tiny birds chirped as they splashed in the bubbling bird bath. Kitty, Kuromi, and Melody set up their sparkle festival blanket in the middle of the lush green grass. They made a beautiful daisy chain, gathered the freshest berries, and sipped imaginary tea from their tiny cups. The festival felt even more special because they knew they had earned its beauty. "This is the best sparkle festival ever," Kuromi declared, taking a big bite of a juicy berry. "Because we made the garden sparkle again." Kitty and Melody nodded, their hearts full. They had learned that true beauty isn't just given, it's cared for. And by working together, observing carefully, and taking responsibility, they had not only saved their garden, but also made their friendship shine even brighter. From that day on, their garden remained the most sparkling, loved, and well cared for place in the entire USA, all thanks to the teamwork and dedication of Kitty, Kuromi, and Melody.